Welcome back to another episode of PACERS Gaming Podcast presented by Salesforce. I'm here with our star center, Big Rain. Thanks for coming by and spending some time before scrims to come chat. First question, how did you come up with the name Big Rain?
So I made my first PlayStation name when I was like 12, and it was Nuclear Rain XD, and I kind of carried that Rain name on, even though people called me Nuke back then. Now it's Rain. So I went from Nuclear Rain to Rain on the Rim to now Big Rain. So that's kind of where that originated from.
Was it like one of those default names that you kind of just give it right away, or you just thought of that?
I played a lot of Call of Duty back then. So, like, Nuclear is like when you get like a high kill streak.
Mhm.
So that was where that kind of started from. But yeah, I just kept the Rain instead of Nuke. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Tell us a little more about like where you're from and a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah, so I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama, there ain't much to do there. Very small town, quiet town. Everyone thinks it's country. I was brought up mainly I was like back and forth. I lived with my grandparents, so I was like 9 years old. And then moved in with my mom, and she, took care of me since then. And I've had like a really big support system through both my grandparents and my parents. They really supported me in my journey too with this. They didn't really believe in it at first, and then they started to see like, the money you can make from it and stuff like that. And they've been a really big, supporter of that. So
How was it like being in Montgomery, Alabama, to where probably not a lot of video game players, I would assume?
you're like the standout guy, I guess. Like everybody down there likes, college football, and there's really not much to do besides that down there. But going out to do like typical stuff, like go to the movies and stuff like that. But not too many people play video games, like you said. So I would just say I was a standout guy to everybody because everyone else is doing their own thing, not really playing games.
So in Montgomery, like, I got to ask you this. I'm sure it's going to be somebody watching who has this question. But in Montgomery, Alabama, who you rooting for, Auburn or Alabama?
Alabama for sure.
Oh, man. I think you told me about this before. It's like, where's the cutoff line in the state to where they're like, this had votes for Auburn, this had votes for Bama?
I don't think there is a cutoff line. It's like all half and half. Like, so in the capital, Montgomery, there's stores all over where literally half the store is Alabama, half the store is Auburn, like merchandise. So it's just like an all-out war down there. Like, and then people will literally say like, roll tide for the football team. They'll just say it like in their sentences as like a terminology, and like just being like excited and happy. It's like so crazy how like football is just like the thing down there. But yeah.
Is high school football really big down there too?
Yeah, I actually played football in my high school, and it was like that's what everybody wanted to go see. And like, not so many people showed up for the basketball games, but it was like full house for the football games every night. So
Yeah, I remember watching like Friday Night Lights and seeing like, it made me think like, well, I was like, high school football that big in the South? And then start looking up stuff, and like they have like whole stadiums for high school teams. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
we had a really nice stadium. It was like just built not too long ago before I got to the high school too. But it was a nice stadium, and it was always full. We played against some pretty good teams, because I think the year after I graduated, they won the state championship. So we had a good team.
What position you play?
I wanted to play defense, but we had so many people that wanted to play defense, and I was stuck playing offensive line. So
They're just like, nobody can hold off a block like Blaine can. But did you play other sports too?
Yeah, I actually played football my 8th and 9th grade year, and then I quit that to play basketball. And I played basketball up until like midway through my 11th grade year. And then my mom ended up getting custody of my niece, and which is not my sister, I guess, but because she adopted her. But she needed help like taking care of her after school, so I had to quit to do that. So
Gotcha. So is that when like 2K kind of became a thing? Like, when did you start getting into 2K? You talked about starting with Call of Duty.
Yeah, I've been playing 2K competitively since 2K16. I think like a couple years before that, I had like kind of gotten into it, but I think about that time is when I started to really take it serious, because I had like a lot of free time on my hands. So I think I would want to say I started taking it serious around like 2K19, and then that's really when it really took off for me. But
Gotcha. And then why did you pick center of all positions?
um, so I played power forward and center in real life, and it was mainly power forward, but center was my secondary position, and I like playing center more because you're very involved on both sides of the ball. Like, you're the anchor on defense pretty much. And then on offense, you're setting the screens. You can make call outs for your point guard. You're very involved because you have to set the screen and roll like every play and on 2K at least, But I just like how involved you are.
And then last year you were with Magic Gaming and then got traded to the Pacers. How was that whole experience in terms of like the moment you found out you were coming to Indiana to like the moment you arrived and checked out the facility?
So the first day I found out, I was stunned. Like I didn't want to be traded, even though we were like a really bad team at the time. I didn't want to be traded because I'm a guy that's big on like what I'm used to. I don't like change, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to be traded, but once I got here, I really liked it here. I already had people I knew here on the team from last year. I had, Bobby as our coach, and Reed was here, and I was already familiar with him. And then all the guys welcomed me in, so I really liked it.
So like when you got to Indiana and got to see how much different it was from Alabama, it's like, what were your first thoughts?
You don't really think about it, but like when I got here and was walking around the city, it's like all the skyline is like so much different. Like there's no big buildings really in Alabama besides maybe one huge building, and it's like a bank. And then you come here and then you walk around, there's huge buildings everywhere, it's something I'm not used to. But a lot of people too compared to Alabama, like you don't ever see people just walking around the streets for real down there, and there's tons of people walking around out here. So
like in Alabama, is it more like neighborly out there, or like how's it different from like Indiana?
yeah, I would say so. Like everything here is in walking distance, so that's why you see so many people walking. But back home, everyone has to, drive there, and then so you don't see like the people on the street. And then like when you are talking to people and stuff like that, there are typically pretty nice. But up here, I'd say the people are nicer up here, honestly, that I've met. I think last year when we won the banner, we were holding the trophy and walking around the city, bringing it all the way back to the facility. And everyone was congratulating us, even if they didn't even know who we were, So just that a lot of nice people up here.
That's what I was about to say. Alabama probably is a little more like acres than like
Yeah.
people like living next door, like where you can just kind of like bump into or cut somebody's grass on accident. That's how I see it. I think Alabama is more spaced out in my mind. So like now this season for season 6, you have 4 new teammates. 4 new guys coming in to come play with you. Like, what are your thoughts on the guys so far?
I like everybody. I think we get along really well. That's kind of what we wanted to do when we were like picking our team in the off season too. Was like we wanted good people that we knew also wanted to play together. So, and I think 1 through 5, everybody wants to play together. Everybody fits really well. And I think it'll show too when we play.
Definitely. And you got to play threes too as well, and you probably weren't expecting to play threes this season. But you got a whole 3 season under your belt now. So now with that being said, like what do you think you like more, the 3v3 side or the 5v5 side?
I'll always like 5s more, just because like I feel like it takes more skill to be good in 5s than it does in 3s, because it's so spaced out, so hard to get stops on defense. I'd say for sure 5s. They'll always be 5s.
Yeah, I heard that. Now with like the season coming up, well, let's take a step back. Now we got 3 side, we got the 5 side, split up now to where it's 3s for the first couple months and then it's 5. So do you like the layout how it is this year, or like you like more of how it was last year to where you can kind of bounce back and forth?
I think I like it how it was last year better, besides the fact that you had like half as many games to play in group play. I like that we kind of like doubled it up this year, and you can play more games to figure out like your seating and stuff. But last year, I feel like you weren't getting burnt out from either mode. Like this year, I felt like by the end of threes, like I felt like we were getting burnt out. You know what I mean? Like we've been playing threes for months now. Like we're kind of getting sick of playing it for hours every day. You know, like we want to switch back and forth. But that's why I think last season was a little bit better.
I hear that. And then if you weren't playing in the 2K League, what do you think you'd be doing?
I had my own business before I came in the 2K League. My grandfather owned a window cleaning business for over 30 years, and I started working with him out of high school doing that, and I ended up leaving that to make my own business doing the same thing, window cleaning, pressure washing, stuff like that. And that's probably what I'd be doing. It made pretty good money, and I worked only 3 days a week. So
Now, I have a tough question. Do you think, is there anything you learned from having your own business that you can bring in your profession as a 2K League player or just a professional gamer?
probably like the responsibility of it, I'd say. Like, especially with me being like the only guy that was here last year, and you got to have that like responsibility. Um, as a business owner, I had to make my own schedule and pay myself and all sorts of things, and like split up the money for business expense and me and all sorts of stuff like that. So I think it gave me like good responsibility habits.
What do you see yourself in the next like 5 years? Do you think you're gonna go back to like running your own business, or you think you're gonna take the esports route, or you're gonna mix the two where you have your own business within esports?
I would love to do this as long as I can. Obviously, probably 5 years from now, that's not really like a realistic career in this, but at least like keep working in it somehow. Maybe streaming or making content, or being a coach, or something, anything like that. I just want to be involved in esports because I've always loved it my entire life. I've been playing video games since I was 2 years old, so I've always wanted to do something with this.
And last question, what are you looking to get out of being a professional gamer?
I would say like the competitiveness of it. I like the when you play on stage, that feeling it gives you. I feel like you don't get that from anything else. You know what I mean? Um, I don't get fired up until I play on stage, and that's what I play for. I feel like like that feeling is just crazy.
I definitely hear that, man, especially being a player myself. Well, appreciate you coming through on the Pacers Gaming Podcast presented by Salesforce. This is Big Rain, our Star Center. Thanks for watching. Till the next time.